This is an Evergreen Media Network studio production.
Honestly, without Treasure Coast Community Health, I think we'd be a much poorer community in terms of our health. We're always striving to fill the gap for everyone in the community, rich or poor.
Good afternoon and welcome to Community Conversations. My name is Vicki and I'm the CEO of Treasure Coast Community Health. Our organization provides primary care to people from birth all the way through the last days. And we're very happy to do that because we know how important health is. Whether you're talking about mental health, oral health, medical help, that's all a very important part of having a wonderful life. And who doesn't want a wonderful life when you live in paradise in Indian River County? But we know, too, that there are other things that contribute to a great life. And one of those I have spotlighted today, and that is literacy services. And so, Shannon Maitland, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Vicki. So nice to see you.
Absolutely. Shannon and I do a lot around the community together as nonprofit leaders. But I am just in awe of the impact that your organization does on the literacy of our community. And so what does that mean? Why is it important? You came back from out of town to be the leader of literacy services. So clearly you have a heart for it. Tell us about it.
I do. I love what we do. Thank you so much for the kind words. We help people learn how to read and write. We help people learn English if they're a native speaker of another language. We help people study for the U.S. citizenship exam. We had 18 people pass that last year.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We also help people study for the GED or high school equivalency and get better jobs by doing job-related vocabulary. So we serve adults in Indian River County, ages 16 and up.
Okay.
And they just have to request our services, which are free.
Free. I love that word.
Yes.
Free.
Thanks to our wonderful
charge.
funders and grant partners. Everything is free. We have about 150 volunteer tutors who help fuel our mission. And they work with the students one-on-one, in small groups, in corporate settings, or in conversation clubs or group classes, and help our students achieve their dreams and become better parents and get better jobs and ultimately improve their quality of life.
Well, I know that in working with the younger age children, I've finally gotten to figuring it out officially that you have to have vocabulary skills plus being able to figure out the phonics. But children don't talk much, or their parents and teachers don't talk much about the oddities of English. And I'm sure that for someone coming from another country, trying to learn English is so different, just even in the sentence structure, from Spanish or Greek or Ukraine.
It is quite different. Plus, as Americans, we speak very informally and we use a lot of idioms, and most of us don't know the rules. We just know that it sounds right. And so it is quite challenging for our students. We have students from 35 different countries.
Wow.
They speak over 20 different languages. And some of our students, they know how to read English. But when it comes to speaking with someone like we are, or even understanding, hearing the accents and things like that, then it's quite a challenge. And so we are hoping to work more with the science of reading and train our tutors in that a little bit more, and just, helping people so that their comprehension improves, their confidence improves. I watch students start kind of slunched over, and then they come in and they're proud and tall and advocating for themselves.
That's
and
wonderful.
Able to communicate. And it's been really interesting, especially you work with a health organization. So we have a lot of students who come to us because they want to be able to communicate with their doctor or their child's doctor. They want to be able to express a medical concern.
And that's its own language, as we all will freely admit.
Exactly. And just, my tummy hurts, or I think I have this going on, or, more detailed. I mean, I sometimes struggle to understand what the doctor says. I feverishly take notes and Google things afterwards. We also have students who their goal is just to be able to read their prescription label on their medication, which we know is a major safety concern.
Absolutely.
And now we're seeing a lot of students, primarily from South America, who were doctors or veterinarians or nurses, had some sort of a healthcare career. And when they're coming here to America, they want to continue in the healthcare field, but they really need that baseline, baseline vocabulary so they can go and continue on with their studies.
Well, oftentimes they have to start all over again. There's no natural agreement from one country to another. And so we've had individuals come to us who, in the course of an interview, as a medical assistant, will say, I was a doctor, or I was, an ICU nurse in my country, but there's no way that I can do that without starting again.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened with our Student of the Year finalist this past year. She was a doctor in South America. And when she came here with her husband, who's also a doctor, she had to start over from the beginning. She took the initiative, got her medical assistant certification, got a great job here, is continuing to improve her English, and she uses it every day at work, and she's very determined and just keeps improving. But it's tough to go from one job to another. We've had several of our students who in their home countries, they maybe were doctors, lawyers, architects, professors, all sorts of really exciting careers. And now when they're coming in, they're in entry-level positions, which is hard for them financially when you're used to making a certain amount, or just
Well, many of them are still sending whatever they earn back home because they have left home for America, seeking a better life for them and the rest of their extended family.
Exactly. And sometimes people have to leave behind spouses or children as they, make their way here and get a sustainable, solid ground.
And so you give them that safe place to flub up their English words and laugh about it.
Exactly. We do. And we always try to make sure in all the classes we do and all the trainings that we do with our tutors as well, making sure that students feel safe and comfortable so that they can practice. And one of our tutors has this wonderful philosophy that I keep sharing, asking students, would you like me to correct you? Otherwise, do you just want to practice? Because some students tell me what I did wrong. I want to improve it. I want to be perfect. And other folks, they just want to get the point across.
Well, and a lot of it has to do with their self-confidence, because if you're coming to learn, but every time you open your mouth, you're corrected, it's a little frustrating. I've done that in another country, and so it was. I had to have that same conversation with my German cousins. It's like, stop, just help me.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to figure out where we're going to stop for food or where the ladies' room is, don't keep telling me I didn't accent this syllable right.
Exactly. Or you said it past tense instead of present tense and things like that. It is. And the confidence piece is huge. And that's something that I want us to be able to measure more, because I'm seeing it and I'm hearing it anecdotally that, sometimes the person's spouse or even their children will act as translators. And then as their confidence improves and their stature improves, next thing you know, they're talking with the clerk at the convenience store, or they're ordering things for themselves. Or my favorite is when our students then talk with their children's teachers, right? Yes. Parent-teacher conferences, they're going to volunteer, they're much more engaged in their child's education because they overcome that fear or sometimes confusion of, what does this letter mean? Or what's going on? Or, well, my kid said he didn't have any homework.
Yeah, I love that one.
That way, being able to communicate more.
So I have a question. You have so many volunteers. Is it helpful if a volunteer speaks another language, or does that not level the playing field as much?
It does help, especially when we talk about goals. to really communicate why exactly you want to learn English. Or, some of our students, I should have mentioned this sooner, some of our students are from America and they speak English and maybe they struggle to read and write, or maybe they want to go for a career certification exam. But as far as our tutors go, to answer your question, it's helpful if our tutors know another language, but it's certainly not a requirement. We have so many tutors who don't speak another language, and we give them all the tools, we give them training, we have staff to always help and support, and we're always looking for tutors. So it seems like no matter how many wonderful people we have volunteering, we have even more people coming in our office who are
asking
wonderful
for help.
and asking for help. Every single day, we have new students coming in and seeking our services. So as of last month, we had over 100 people on our waiting list.
Seriously?
Yes, seriously. Most of them are in Vero Beach, and most of them work during the day, so they need tutors on the evenings or weekends. So we have 4 offices. The Vero Beach main library, we're right down from the fish tank, right across the hall from the fish tank by the gift shop. We have an office in the Brackett Library when you first come in to the left. We have an office in the Sebastian Library all the way in the back. And then we have an office in Fellsmere in the old schoolhouse in the basement of it. We do tutoring in all of those places, and we have partnerships with several other organizations where we do group classes, and we just require that tutoring is in a public place. So that could be at a coffee shop. That could be United Way lets us use their space when it's not Vita Tax time. Laura Riding Jackson Foundation lets us use their beautiful space for Conversation Club. Gifford Youth Achievement Center lets us use their space to do a class. Pelican Island Audubon Society has offered some space, and we're working on filling that. So it means that your volunteers don't necessarily have to drive great distances to be helpful and effective. Oh, not at all. We always try our best to accommodate the volunteers. So our wonderful teammate Alita, who does the matches, she gets to know what the tutors, kind of their background, and also where they live, so that we can find a spot that's convenient for them based on their availability. And if, for example, a tutor was a nurse, well, then we're going to match that tutor with a student who's interested in the medical field so that they can help one another. So we try our best to really make a good match. Thanks. It's magical. It really is.
It sounds like it. I do have some more questions, though.
Okay.
If it's first off, I'm so happy to hear that you didn't once talk about a Zoom call, because language is such a face-to-face type of thing. My husband's losing his hearing, and so we have to make sure we get right in front of him, because although he says he doesn't lip read, his ears work so much better if we're facing him than if we're behind him. So I understand the importance of that. But evening hours, are those then where the volunteer could pick to be part of a group session, or a conversation club, I think you called it, or individual tutoring?
Yes, both. So, so the volunteer tutors, if they're interested in doing a group class on their own, or maybe with a partner,
I would think that would be easier at first.
That's been more comfortable for sure. We do have a lot of people who are retired teachers, and so they're comfortable with the classroom setting. But for folks who don't have an education background, the idea of having a partner to do things with is great.
At least at first.
Absolutely. And also the one-on-one sessions. So those happen in the evenings. So I have to go to your point about Zoom. We do use Zoom sometimes if the tutor and the student want to.
Okay.
So that is an option. We also have Mango Languages. It's an app that you can do on the phone, or you can do it on the computer. And you put in your native language, and then you put in English that you want to learn, and it translates the words for you. And it gives you a button to click, and you hear a native person speak it, and then you read it on the screen, and then you practice. And you can even record yourself saying it and compare it to the audio. And as you go through, it gets harder and harder. And my son and I are using it. He's in Spanish class. So we're using that the opposite way, so that we can learn together.
Sort of like Babbel.
Exactly, like Babbel or Rosetta Stone or some of those other programs.
So people can practice it on their own in addition to sessions with others and tutoring itself.
Exactly. It's a supplement, and like you're saying, and then it's also for our students on the waiting list. When they first do our intake form, if we don't have a tutor, for them right away, then we go ahead and offer the Mango languages so they can begin practicing, and even as they get matched up, they can continue using it. We do have some people who want to do Zoom because their lives are busy. Maybe they have transportation or childcare barriers. And then some of our tutors go up north or travel in the summer. And so I know one tutor who he does Zoom over the summers. And I heard that he was even reading books with the children of his students. So it was kind of a family conversation. Nice. They do some family tutoring. So, he's even reading books to them on Zoom and things like that. So
that's wonderful. Creativity.
It really is creative, and it's so magical to see the bonds that form between the students and their tutors. I know sometimes, for example, I'm thinking of this picture that someone sent recently. She was a tutor of two students here, husband and wife. They accomplished some of their goals. They got better jobs. They bought a house. They got their child into enrichment activities. And then they moved away to California. Oh. So the tutor went and visited them in California and sent some pictures of us. And I've got goosebumps telling you about it. They purchased their second new home. They got really great jobs out there. They have another child. Everyone's, really engaged in the academics.
What
and
a
here they
life
keep
difference.
in touch. I think it was at least 5, if not 10 years that they've stayed in touch.
I just looked at the clock. We're overdue for a word from our sponsors. You're right. This is magical. We'll be right back. Stay with us, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. So listen carefully. Treasure Coast Community Health in-house pharmacies have the lowest prices in Indian River County, even lower than big box pharmacies. Taking your medication as prescribed leads to better health. Affordable medicine makes it easier. Treasure Coast Community Health patients can pick up medicine as they leave the office or use free delivery and mail order services. Pharmacists are always available to answer questions. Switch to TCCH pharmacies. Save money, stay healthy. 772-257-8224 and ask about our price match.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs, and all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens and Pollywood. We're having a big February clearance sale, which includes all Tommy Bahama and Lexington in stock or special order, 50% off. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com, and don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store directly across the street.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Sunshine Day.
Sturgis Lumber is more than just lumber. Timber! Residential, commercial, and industrial applications. Sturgis has all of the hardware to help with your project. Visit SturgisLumber.com. 4 generations strong, Sturgis Lumber and Hardware. More than just lumber.
Your grandkids struggle. You've helped your kids through their struggles. What about yours? Back in your day, nobody talked about feelings, emotions, or mental health. Times have changed. It's your time to unstruggle. When life is a struggle, getting help shouldn't be. Unstruggle.org.
And welcome back to Community Conversations. If you're just joining us, I'm so pleased that I've got a good friend here, Shannon Maitland from Literacy Services, talking today about the services that this nonprofit offers through lots of volunteers, lots of great relationships with the people that they tutor. What a heartwarming story you told of someone who started with a tutor here in town. She and her husband advanced in their careers through the education that you guys helped them with, learning the language, and their children and their growth and their move to California, and the tutor that you provided them, going out to visit them. True lifetime friendships are born of this kind of volunteering.
It really is. It feels almost like family in a lot of ways when we see them.
Well, you know, you mentioned during the break that your organization was really started to help American-born, American-educated people learn the language in terms of vocabulary and other learning disabilities and reasons why they didn't end up being proficient learners, okay? Right. And then from the demand of other people coming into the community that did not originate here, did not have English as their first language, that demand added to your plate, as it were, and you have responded, particularly in some of the Hispanic communities that we have. But you still do an awful lot of work for those folks who are struggling to become better educated.
We do. So you're right. Back in 1971, our wonderful founders, 52 years ago, or 53 now, started literacy services because they recognized a need that there were people from here who just didn't learn how to read. So maybe they had learning disabilities, maybe there were barriers to education, or sometimes life just throws curveballs and education isn't the focus.
Exactly. Sometimes for whatever family reason, a lot of kids had to drop out and become wage earners. Even though it was low wages, they felt they had to contribute to their family.
Exactly. And the family really needed them too. And so that's why age 16 is where we start, because it's my understanding that's the age in which someone must go to school. And then they can drop out legally at age 16. So that's when we came in to help out with the GED. So at the beginning of the organization, we helped a lot of people from here. And I'm not sure exactly when, but somewhere in the last 52 years, we had this switch where just more English language learners, kind of the word on this street. That's why I mentioned the fish tank. I was told that, oh, I know who you are. You're famous. You're the office across the hall from the fish tank at the library. And so somewhere along the lines, you know, people just started telling their friends, their family, their network about us. And so we have people every single day coming to us who are English language learners. And for our students who are from here, native English speakers, usually there's a little bit of a barrier for them to come, especially if someone has spent their whole life, you know, struggling to read and write. Often they hide that from their families.
Absolutely.
They hide that from coworkers. They hide it from everyone. And so
there's that stigma, that shame of, you know, I must be stupid. I have learning disabled children. And so, yes, I'm familiar with that one.
You know how that feels, and that weight. And so when you have this weight and this guilt or shame or whatever feelings, you don't want to come to a stranger and go, hey, I've been hiding my whole life from all of my trusted people that I don't know how to read. Are you going to help me? Will you help me? And so that's something we're really working to build partnerships with local organizations that serve people who have, you know, challenges to learning, who are adults who need and want to improve their literacy. So we're building a lot of partnerships, like with you guys, with United Against Poverty, Healthy Start, and some other organizations that are serving folks.
And we're almost done, so I do want to add on to that very quickly. If you are one of those individuals that wish you could read better, wish you had better vocabulary skills, this is a free opportunity. It is very confidential, and it is very, very successful. You can put as much time or as little time into it as you'd like. And so how do they contact you?
You come to our office at the main library or call us 772-778-2223. We can also help you study for a certification exam or things like that with your job.
And so literacy services of Indian River County, or just literacy services to Google?
Literacy services, irc.org is our website. And I know we're running out of time. I forgot to mention we have a great fundraising luncheon Friday, March 15th, the Love of Literacy Luncheon with New York Times bestselling author Will Schwalbe. We still have a few tickets left, so you can go on our website or call us for more details.
Thank you, Shannon, for being here. And thank you, listeners, for sticking with us to the end. I hope this was as helpful to you as it is to myself and others. And we'll be back next week. Have a great evening.